Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to Sunday's Talking Town. I'm, of course, your host, the Gov, and we've got Cameron Burgess leaving Ipswich Town to join Swansea on a free. Josh Brownhill linked, according to Alan Nixon, on a free. Obviously, Burnley last season. Amari shining for England in their first game. Colin in the chat says Amari rested today. It's all right. He's had a long, hard season. I'd rest him and get him out of that shop window. Is there a chance he moves in this window? Do let us know. If you like town views, news, opinions, and more, hit the subscribe button. And we can't do these live shows without you absolutely wonderful people. So please do get active in our live chat. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts, leave your opinions. All of it. Leave it all. And we'll discuss everything and anything, and we'll end when we end. Mike Baker, Cam wanted longer than the club offered him. No harm in the player going forward. Separate directions. Colin says, thank you to Cameron. Most improved player at ITC of the last 3 or 4 seasons. Absolutely. He says, Governor Matt. Well, it's not Matt joining me this afternoon. No, it is none other than Mr. Milk Tray Man himself, Ben Adams. Ben, welcome. How are you, sir?
If it's milk tray chocolates, I'm melting. I'm in my garden office and it is hot. So apologies for the vest. It's not to show off anything because there's nothing underneath worth showing off. I'm just really hot today.
Hey, I'm in a room actually smaller than your shed, to be fair, with a computer and some lights and obviously the heat outside. So I know all about roasting. Look, listen, we can't go any further without starting with the sort of the main talking point, if you like, which obviously the news dropped yesterday. Cam Burgess, he was offered terms by Town. He turned those down. He's gone to join Swansea. He released on his Instagram, "Dear Ipswich, what a ride. Sometimes this game gives you opportunities to look at what's important in our short careers. And I'm able to write this excited, what lies ahead for me and my family, while knowing you have given me the best 4 years of my career to date." And he goes on, but the long and short of it is obviously he's very thankful for his time here, but his time here is over. He is left on a free transfer, joined Swansea on a 3-year contract. What are you thinking? What's the thoughts there? Because it was a shock to me yesterday when it dropped. I'll be honest. I said I'm a little bit shocked that this is the last time we're going to be talking about him until he plays Swansea. That's a bit of a shock to me. What are your thoughts, Ben?
I think Swansea have pulled off an absolute belter of a signing there. I've been a lot on the Swansea boards in the past 24 hours, and it's interesting that not a lot of the fan base seem to have really heard about him. I think they're going to love him. Really shocked it was Swansea. Interesting to sell it to a rival. And I did have in the back of my mind, maybe this is another kind of Hladky kind of thing where I think he wanted to stay, but the contract offer just wasn't good enough for the point in the career. I think he probably wanted a 3-year deal. I reckon the club probably offered him a year or 2. And fair enough, because he's the wrong end of, how old is he now? 29?
29.
29. Yeah, 29. So it's the last big move he'll make, I think. And I think Swansea have pulled off an absolute coup. I, like the entire fan base, loved Cam. And when he played, I would, in my opinion, he was the best centre-back at the club. Okay. I think he's brilliant. So shocked at Swansea, but I get it.
Well, Modric is now involved at Swansea. They're a club in our division. It's a great signing for them. This is a player that played in the Premier League last year, played in that back-to-back promotion campaign, been really impressive over the last 2 or 3 seasons, which is a real surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise. But when we were promoted to the Championship, Ben, many people were questioning whether we needed to improve and whether Burgess could be a Championship centre-half, and he said, not a problem, I'll do it and more. Then we get promoted, and again, you have those same concerns potentially, and again, he effectively says, I'll prove you wrong. And did he do that? Yes, he did. He was really good. And interesting you say about him being the best defender when he played. I think the question really should be: should he have been first choice? That's the real question.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot.
I agree. And I think there's a little bit of, I think he thinks he should have played more than he did. And I think we all think the same. I think with Greaves, who I didn't think had a particularly good season, if I'm honest with you. I know that he's got a higher ceiling and all that, and they interchange the position. But I think Burgess should have started so many more times. He was so assured when he came on, and the whole back line just calmed down. So when we were being beaten on the wing through Davis, which is a lot of our goals came through, he was the person to head the ball out, and we are going to sorely miss that. Maybe we won't notice it as much in the Championship, but he's just a really great, consistent professional whose trajectory of impact, he just went like this. He went better and better and better and better and better. And he met each challenge as he came to them, and that's quite rare in football. Actually, you usually find the ceiling pretty starkly. I would even argue that we're going to talk about Amari Hutchinson, but like Amari Hutchinson found the ceiling and couldn't really move beyond it, I think, apart from the last 3 or 4 games. Burgess kept on getting better and better and better. And Swansea will get the benefit now of those Premiership games and its back-to-back promotion seasons. So good luck, Swansea. You pulled off a coup.
I think what you said there is completely correct, particularly the Jacob Greaves part, where you do get the feeling Jacob Greaves' ceiling is higher than Cam Burgess. He's younger. We made that initial outlay, of course, and the initial outlay really doesn't come into the thinking in terms of who it should be first choice, but his ceiling is higher. He is the long-term answer, particularly I think at this level we're now returning back to. He earned the move away from Hull at this level for a reason, and all things being well, you should see that form. If you weren't overly impressed with his form in the Premier League, return in the summer, there's a number of things, and it's one of those situations. It's a funny place because we're talking on Discord about it, Ben, and it's one of those funny situations where there isn't anyone you can really be angry at. The player is left for 3 years. Would the club have offered him 3 years? Potentially not. Is it going to be more first team football at Swansea than Ipswich? History suggests it probably will be. And equally, you can't be too angry, or I certainly can't be at the football club, because he's 29. If all things go well and you get instantly promoted again, you're back in the Premier League. You've now got a centre-half who, if you had given him a 3-year deal, got 2 years left. But are you looking to upgrade that position? Probably so. So it's just a situation of can't really be angry at anybody, can't really blame anybody. And it's kind of probably, hopefully, going to work out good for us, but equally, more importantly, perhaps, going to work out brilliantly for Cam Burgess in the World Cup year.
I agree, and the World Cup year is quite important. But I would say sometimes it's a decision you don't like, but the timing of it is correct. So It's like if you have to sell your house because your economics or your job title changes or something, it's like you don't want to do it, but it is the right move. And I think that's a Cam thing. Where he's at, would he have a promotion clause in this contract where he paid more money? They probably don't want to do that with a centre-back heading into his 30s, who, let's face it, hasn't actually consistently played the entire way he's been through us in any division we've been at. So that's not going to suddenly change as he gets to the back end of his 20s and early 30s.
No, I agree.
So although I don't like the decision of him going, but the timing of it is correct, I think. So you're right. You cannot really blame anyone, least of all Cameron. And he gave a really lovely message. Not all footballers do that. It's just good luck with the club. I've had my time. It felt like a really heartfelt message.
Yeah, agreed.
And he kind of implied that it made him a better player, it made him a better man, and he will go with our best wishes. But it's just another one of those, the original that team of people that has taken us through this ride in the past 3 years. It's just another one out the door, and everyone's like oof. Another one gone.
It is. You're right. I completely agree. It's another member of that journey of that fairy tale, slowly, bit by bit, sort of being stripped away, if you like. Massimo Luongo, Marcus Harness, Cameron Burgess, and others that have already departed the football club. But bit by bit, as in football, it all changes. You must evolve or you stagnate, and this is all part of that evolution. And the question is, should he have been more first choice? And that can rumble on forever, or you can leave that in the past now because the player isn't really here anymore. And Trevor Colin, by the way, says Burgess quality player and a very good person to defend. I completely agree with that. And you're right. It was a great statement. You were right there again, Ben. And I would have read it all, but I don't like reading from a script or from a statement live on a show. I get very self-conscious halfway through when I start having to read someone else's words that aren't my own. So I don't know what's coming next, right? So it's like
I hear you. Just in case you slipped a C-bomb in there or something, you don't want.
It's more in case I accidentally read, a word wrong or whatever. But Trevor highlighted excellently what we want from our live chat, and they do so much of this already. Is Trevor says, question: is a replacement coming in, or will it be Elkan Baggott? Elkan Baggott, of course, given that a contract extension, some were saying at the time, extension to sell. Could it be extension to be fourth choice centre half, or is there going to be somebody else coming in? And if it is somebody else coming in, just to add on to Trevor's question there to you, Ben, is it a first choice player? And if so, does Greaves then revert to the Cam Burgess role, or is it somebody perhaps, very similar age, but will want a shorter term contract, or we're happy with to play second fiddle, or whatever it is? that will sit happily behind Jacob Greaves? What's the plan going to be there, do you think?
So there's a lot there to answer. I'm going to start
There
at the
is,
beginning,
always.
which is it Elkan Baggett? No, it's not Elkan Baggett. Elkan Baggett, it feels like he's been at the club since like 2006. He's just perennially being kind of loaned out, and he's got a massive following in Indonesia, and Elkan Baggett's come back in. Can he come back in? He'll never play for this team. You'll never see him at Portman Road. So let's just settle that one. He'll be eventually moved on for a couple of $100,000 to bloody, I don't know, Wrexham in 2 years. I don't know. We'll never see him play. I think we brought him in at a time when we needed a bit of publicity, and he had 4 million Instagram followers in Indonesia. So it was part of a media plan. He will never play for this team. So I think that you are right. You hit it there in the middle of that. I think it will be someone similar to Cameron Burgess, who is happy on a 2-year contract with no promotion cap, with a promotion cap on how much they'll pay him. I think Greaves and O'Shea. I mean, the other thing will be, will O'Shea still be here? That's another question. But assuming that he's going to be here, it will be a replacement for them two, because those two are what Kieran selected them so consistently last. Well, not all of them, O'Shea, but he seems to want to build it around those two. Although I disagree with that, because as Wolfenden, I think he'll bring in a 2-year player between 26 and 32 years old, happy with a 2-year contract, as support is what I think.
Okay. I just say, Beard, we need to get a deputy to Jacob. Beard's been a member for 12 months. Beard, you're a legend and a Discord moderator as well. He would never have predicted Swansea. No, I would. It was a shock to me.
It was Valencia, wasn't it, who was being touted for him? I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And do you know what? When I heard that, I thought, yeah, do you know what? Fair enough. He would be good enough. And then he went to Swansea. So weirdest 60 hours in football I've ever seen. Very strange.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I agree with you in the sense of Elkan Baggett never playing for the football club. That may well happen. I don't know.
He won't.
But he's a young player. He's not ready now, I don't think, in my opinion. For a team that's just been relegated, the amount of expectation,
I agree.
I agree. Not ready at this point in time.
If we hadn't have had the trajectory we've had the last few years, then maybe. But we are so far beyond that. It's unbelievable. We've progressed so far beyond Baggett now. Who's he going to replace? What the defenders who have paid like £20 million for? He's not getting ahead of those any day of the week. No more than Kieran Slicker's going to come in and dislodge Palmer. So it's just have him there as a support, and I hope he finds his club. It's just not going to be with us, I don't think.
Well, yeah, I think if in a different world, had Town been promoted, consolidated, and been entering there
and stayed in the Championship, then
perhaps your fourth choice could be a young player such as Elkan Baggett. But I think relegation, the pressure, the expectation of bouncing straight back, it's all high stakes this year. Do you know what I mean? It's all high stakes, and ugly the next 2 years, but certainly year one you've got that parachute club, they normally bounce back sort of view on it, and it could be just too early for him in sense of being the fourth choice. But Beard agrees that thinks Baggett could be a backup with the right developments and a season the Championship, mid-table team, week in, week out playing, potentially so. But yeah, so any other thoughts on Cameron Burgess, do get them in. Don't forget we are partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you want to help to save lives and have the chance of £1,000 every week, play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery by playing from just £1 each week. You're helping to keep their yellow helicopters flying. The East Anglian Air Ambulance creates 18 winners every week with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. Over 18s only. T&Cs apply. Link in the description. And as I always say, please, whatever you do, gamble responsibly. And if you want to join the show today, just ask for the link, ! Right link, and that should arrive for you. Ben, this one is an in rumour. Alan Nixon this morning reporting that Town are interested, or this player is on Town's radar. It's Josh Brownhill, Burnley last season, out of contract this summer. I've not seen for sure, but I'm sure Burnley would be delighted to try and keep him. I've seen other Premier League team names mentioned. Goals and assists last year for Josh Brownhill. £9 million he was signed for in 2020 by Burnley. What are your thoughts on this? Potentially brilliant link, in my opinion.
I think it might be a bit too brilliant. I just because I've been doing quite a bit of reading into this and going on their Burnley's boards. There's also a lot of interest, I think, from West Ham and Everton as well. So there's a lot of people, I think, looking at thinking, yeah, 18 championship goals. Was it 6 assists? I think he got last year. So this is, this supplants anyone in our championship season. So it will be a hell of a signing if we could get him. It'd be incredible. From what I can understand, Burnley did offer him another contract that just wasn't the right one. Not too dissimilar from the Burgess situation, just a different division. And if we capture him, it might be the equivalent of Swansea capturing Burgess. He's a hell of a player. I mean, I've saw the highlight reels. I mean, what a midfielder he is. You can build a midfield around him for at least 2.5 to 3 years. I just wonder if he's a little bit too good for us. And West Ham and Everton, he's not a young player either, not very young. Another sniff at the Premier League, he's going to want a bit of that. And he'll stay there if he goes to those two clubs. So what a signing that would be in the Championship. But, can you imagine Brownhill and Kayust? Jesus.
It would be an absolute mind blowing and brilliant. Insert whatever way you want to say it. Signing, he's 29 years of age, and as you say, last season stats that just this is a player that's got just under 100 Premier League starts as well, by the way, right?
Yeah, I know.
So if you jump back to that Cam Burgess conversation, in the sense of where we are as a football club, how long do you want to give players? When do you want to look to sort of upgrade that position? Should you bounce right back? Well, it'll be 30, I believe, in December. Let me just double check that. I believe it's.
I think it's this year. Yeah.
So 30 in December. So promoted back to the Premier League. Say it's instant. He's only 30. You're going to turn 31. Just under 100 Premier League starts. Now, would he be first choice? Should that happen? Maybe, maybe not. But this year, all we heard was Town should have got more Premier League experience. Town should have had more Premier League experience. Well,
Correct.
That would be a Premier League experienced player, right? But
you go. Yeah, right there. That's everything everyone's been screaming for.
Yeah.
And if we were to get him, it would be a hell of a coup. This year he would tear it up. And you think, well, how far forward can that happen? And the only reason I think it might happen is because I don't think where Everton and West Ham are, they're going to spend significant money on someone who's 30 this year. They have the power to go and spend it on a 24-year-old who's as good, if not better. So I think the age is the only thing that will push him towards us, thinking, and that will be down to Ashton and McKenna. Can you sell him a package, a project to say, this is the last hurrah, we are aiming to go back up, we want you to be in the centre of it, you will be driving it. Our main man, our captain, our leader is on the wind down now, and he will not be starting every game, but you can be. That's the package I'll be selling to him. So come and be the centre of, launch Mark II. Absolutely.
Yeah, look, will it happen? More of me says it won't than it will.
Sure.
Would it be a brilliant signing if it did? The stats speak for themselves. It would be, absolutely amazing. And as you were talking there again, Ben, you've been spot on tonight so far. I can't really blame or question anything. I don't think, apart from maybe the Elkin Bagger whenever play for Town. Other than that, I think you've been mostly spot on this evening. It'd just be it would be a statement signing as well, I think, because this is a player that's got, like I say, under 100 Premier League starts. He's played in more Premier League games, but these are starts, under 100 Premier League starts. Shined for Burnley last season in a campaign that saw him get 100 points.
Yeah.
We'll have, I've got no doubt, Premier League suitors. This would be quite the signing. That's probably why it won't happen, by the way. But if it was, that's a real statement. I
agree. But that is exactly the type of player we're going to go. We're not going to buy a 25-year-old with 100 Premier League starts because they cost £60 million
yes,
and they're playing in the top 10 teams.
Yes,
so so when we say we need Premier League players, it's that with compromise. They're not going to be 21 with 20 goals a season because that's £100 million. They're not going to be 36-year-olds who are on the swan song of their career with their last paycheck. God knows we've done that before in our time as Town. So that is that middle ground for me, where it's maybe just the wrong end of an age for an established Premier League team to pay money for him. But for us, it's perfect. 100 Premier League games, 18 goals, 6 assists, with a second charge. He fits every metric of a midfielder we could want. And I'll be more excited for him than Kayust coming in. I don't share the universal giddiness at the thought of getting Kayust back. He's a very good player. But I'm a bit like Matt. He didn't do enough for me. I think he just looked good in a really crap midfield. But I think someone like him would come and you would see the difference. You think, oh Christ, okay, yeah, there's someone who can actually get assists. Hughes didn't get any assists at all, so I would do everything I can if I was Ashton to throw the kitchen sink, because you can build an entire team around the player like that. Because you just need him to do well for 2 years, really. A charge into the Premier League and the first season in the Premier League, you need him to be good for 2 years. At 29, you get that.
Yeah, I think exactly it. And ITC Beard said Burnley are looking to bring down the average age, says Beard. So he could be moved on. And he says, why did Burnley let him go? Well, he's out of contract, Andy. I'm sure I don't know for sure because I'm not Burnley, but they may have
apparently
offered him terms,
they wanted
may be
3 years, 2-year contract, and he wanted 3. So similar to everyone else.
Neil, how can we say that we don't know if McKenna will be here next season? Well, he's here at the moment, Andy. And Keith Andrews, ex-Town loanee, of course. He's front runner for the job. Set piece coach. It's amazing what a good set piece coach can do, isn't it?
Yeah, we need one.
Well, yeah, I know that. Colin says Cleese was excellent when fit. Unfortunately, that wasn't very often.
Yeah.
And Beard's dream midfield is Brownhill and Downs. You know what? The age of him, I think, also fits really well here in the sense of, if we get promoted straight away, are you going to potentially need a new midfield player because of the same issues? What were the issues you had this year?
Midfield,
a midfield, but ability in the park, ability to get around the park,
fitness,
so the agility, and everything that you need in the Premier League, to really boss a game. Are you still going to need that? Should you get promoted straight away? Possibly so. But the difference is, if Josh Brownhill was to come in, lead you back to the Premier League and then play the role off the bench in the Premier League year, for example, that's under 100 Premier League starts off the bench, as opposed to this year where it was Jack Taylor in his debut Premier League season, or Sam Morsey, who was in his debut Premier League season. You just add that Premier League experience, whether he starts or not, and you've got to get back there. But on the flip side, to get back there, he had so much quality as he proved for Burnley. So it's almost as I said in my video this morning, where's my car keys? Let me know where he is. I'm going to go and get him, because it's 100%. Too good to be true. And as they say, if something's too good to be true, it normally is. So
it usually is.
We'll wait to see. It's an interesting one. It's an exciting one. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. You, obviously, before we go live, I always ask the contributors who are joining me, anything you want to talk about. And you mentioned Amari Hutchinson to me. You want to talk about Amari. So floor is yours, sir. Obviously, England's under-21s are in action in the European Championships.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Amari?
I watched that game the other night, and that's the Amari that came up through the Championship in the last, from January onwards. Getting past players, playing right on the back foot, quick, agile, cutting in the entire time. Got a lot of national recognition for it. I think he looks so good. And for me, I wonder if that was a bit of a kind of a shop window, come and get me kind of thing. There were very quiet murmurings of teams that might want him, and he had a very overall underwhelming Premier League season. I felt where he is now, he reached his ceiling, but if he gets better, fantastic. But it was a really great performance, and he looked hungry, he looked enthusiastic, he looked like a player who'd just done a Premier League season and gotten a bit better, which is all you can wish for. Now he's got a £35 million contract release, and Ashton has said there will be 1 or 2, maybe 3 big departures. I fear he might be one of them, because a lot of eyes got put on that England match, and I've been reading the national media and things like this. All of a sudden, it's like there's a spot. It's like someone in a dark field shot up a flare. Everyone's just looking at it now, and I think there are 1 or 2 teams that are going to think, oh, well, it's okay. Yeah, he's gotten good. He's good, because he didn't have a very good season, and that can destroy some players, I think. Whatever is behind him, it seems to have actually given him a bit of a turbocharge. So I would not be surprised, unfortunately, if one of the lower teams, a Fulham, maybe an Everton, the Crystal Palace, they put in a cheeky bid and say, yeah, we'll pay it, because £35 million in the Premier League for an established team is literally nothing.
No, yeah, look, in what will shock many different people, because I'm famous for my lack of watching every single game there's on the TV. I actually did watch this game. I actually did.
What do you
I
think?
know. I thought it was very good. I thought playing against his peers, he really stood out. He really looked like a player that played weekly, had played regularly for 2 years or more, had played in the Premier League, and really had developed his game. You know, if it was like grassroots football at junior level, you'd be saying, do we look to move him up a year or two because he's too good for his age group? And that's what he looked like for me. Somebody who was just a cut above his peers. And
he looked like a Premier League footballer.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I think he would look like next season in the Championship. He was showing it in the year we went up. He's been showing it in glimpses through the Premier League campaign. But certainly, if he was to stay with us, I think, you know, that's the Amari you'd certainly be getting next season. And I hear you on the 35 million. And I don't necessarily disagree with you on the 35 million, but then I do disagree with you in the sense of 35 could be seen as a good investment for a player that's got all his best years ahead of him and has played regularly over the last 2 seasons. But equally, £35 million could be the silver lining here, Ben, because it's still going to be a record fee for a lot of Premier League teams. And I don't think he's quite there yet. He's certainly going to be there, but I don't think he's there at the moment. You know, if you think of a development, Ben, where is he at the moment? Is he here or is he up here? Because up here, I think a lot of teams, and that's where they see 35 million. But I think he's still got to get to that point. And
it's a fair point. It's a fair point. But I sometimes it just takes one game, and football usually works on a knee jerk with the signing. Now, I think when we were dragging our heels a bit with the Smodics signing, reading Smodics' interview this week, you know, about him not training and not playing in the game, and he was benched, and all of a sudden he came on and he scored 2 goals, bang, bang, like this. All of a sudden that deal was done in 48 hours. And it takes little moments like that for a bigger team to think, yeah, okay, sod it, let's go for it. It logically, you're absolutely correct, but football doesn't work on logic a lot of the time. You know, we put Murich in for more than 3 games, you know, so there's illogical for you. But I don't know, one really good game with the right cameras on him and the right environment and the right team, you'd be surprised how many other people think, right, go get him now, go. If we suddenly came on TWTD tomorrow that he'd been accepted, I think, yeah, well, I kind of get that, actually. I don't want it, don't get me wrong. I don't want him to, but, you know, football's fun.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. You can never really predict football. I just think, you know, when you think of a 35 million player, you think of them being a certain level. And then, you know, do you know what I mean? And we'll go. We'll see where it happens from there. We've got €10 from David. David, thank you ever so much for your kind generosity. Really, really appreciate it. It's never overlooked. And honestly, thank you ever so much. We've got some great comments coming in. We've got a question here in regards to the Chelsea striker. I've lost it. Apologies. If I find it, here we go. Andy, take it. The Chelsea striker is definitely a no-go now. I've not heard it's a no-go, Ben. I've not heard that it's definitely off. I heard that it will take time. And obviously the window was in 2 parts. So until he goes somewhere else or until it's a firm no.
No one else come in for him. And he's not getting in that Chelsea team.
Well, this is it. You know, particularly now you've got Liam Delap there at Chelsea.
He would. I watched the Chelsea media video of him with all his teammates and talking to Chelsea TV and all that. And I'm thinking, oh God, it's just like I say, like seeing your ex-girlfriend at the new boyfriend's family Christmas. You know, it's like, no, that's not how it should be.
Here it is. The analogy. I saw it, and just like that very same analogy, I just scrolled on by. It's like. It's over.
Still
it's over.
A little bit there.
It's over.
Right decision for everyone, but just a little bit like,
nice. See, I've turned that book. I've turned that page. That chapter's closed. I was like, scroll past that. Scroll past that. I don't need to see that. Whether or not I want to dwell in that same feeling you're mentioning there or not, I just don't need to see it. So it
hurts me more that Cameron Burgess has gone. I tell you that. It hurt me more that he's gone than it did with Delap. But, you know, as you say, you stand still, you die in football.
This is it. Michael says Brownhill will not be staying in the Championship as his performance with Burnley last season has caught the eye of a good few Premier League clubs. Michael, thanks for the comment. There you go. But we'll wait to see. So they're the 3 big news stories, if you like, links, interesting points from the world of Talking Town this week. Don't forget, Stowmarket Osteopaths, don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call, 01449 613 633. That's 01449 613-633. We'll be back should there be any more news, views, transfers. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But we're done for the day. Half an hour in the books. This man here is Mr. Ben Adams. You've been wonderful, Ben. The chat have been wonderful.
Thank you, mate.
And anyway, I will catch you all later. See you later, guys. Take care. All the best. God bless. Bye-bye.